Hello everyone, wishing you all good health and peace in life. Just when peace seemed within reach for Huyen and little Maya, fate revealed another twist. A mysterious woman appeared, her presence heavy with secrets, her eyes carrying shadows of the past. In that moment, the fragile happiness they had built trembled, for with her came questions that could no longer be ignored. Dee and Huyen stood still, their hearts caught between fear and truth. What was hidden could no longer remain in silence. Would this woman shatter the home they had fought so hard to protect? Or would facing the truth finally set them free? In her silence lay answers, and in their courage lay hope. Love had carried them through storms before. Now it would be tested once again. The afternoon sun was sinking behind the hills, casting long shadows across the yard where Maya had just been playing with Baby. The sound of laughter still lingered in the air, but inside the small house, a strange silence grew heavy. Dee sat by the wooden table, his hands resting uneasily, while Huyen busied herself with small tasks that didn't really need doing, wiping the same bowl twice, adjusting the chopsticks again and again. Both of them felt it. Something unusual was about to happen. Then, without warning, the old wooden gate creaked. A figure appeared at the edge of the yard. She was a woman, her face partly hidden beneath the wide brim of her conical hat. Her steps hesitant, but determined. The air seemed to tighten around her presence, as if even the wind paused to listen. "Mama, someone is here," Maya whispered softly, clutching Huyen's sleeve. Huyen froze. Her heart thumped as though it recognized something her mind didn't want to accept. Dee's eyes narrowed, a storm of questions already rising inside him. The woman stepped closer, the fading sunlight touching her tired, worn features. For a moment, no one spoke, only the rustle of leaves and the distant call of a bird. "Huyen," the woman finally breathed, her voice trembling, carrying with it a weight of memory. Dee rose to his feet, his chair scraping against the floor. He could not hide the mix of anger, fear, and longing in his expression. Huyen felt her knees weaken. She had tried so hard to build a new life, a safe life for Maya, far from the shadows of the past. Yet here, before her eyes, the past had come walking back in the form of this mysterious woman. "Why are you here?" Dee demanded, his voice low but sharp, like a blade cutting through the still air. The woman lowered her gaze, as though carrying unbearable guilt, because the truth can no longer be hidden. The silence that followed was heavier than words. Huyen clutched Maya closer to her chest, while Dee's breath grew unsteady. The moment they had feared, the moment they tried to avoid, was here. Whatever secrets this woman carried, they would change everything. And now, whether they wanted to or not, Dee and Huyen would have to face the truth. The air was heavy with tension. Maya, sensing the unease, hid her face against Huyen's chest. Bibi barked once, then fell silent, as if even the dog could feel the weight of the moment. Huyen's voice finally broke through, soft and trembling. "Who are you? And what truth are you speaking of?" The woman lifted her eyes, and in them was a sorrow so deep it made Dee's fists loosen. Her lips quivered before she spoke. "My name no longer matters. What matters is that I once knew your family, Huyen. I was there when everything began to fall apart." Dee stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. "Enough riddles. Speak clearly." The woman's shoulders shook. She removed her conical hat, revealing strands of gray tangled with black, and eyes tired from years of carrying pain. "The man who hurt you, the one who tore your life apart, he has returned."
Huyen gasped, her grip on Maya tightening. The world around her seemed to sway. She had fought so hard to bury those memories, to protect Maya from them. No, Huyen whispered, shaking her head, tears filling her eyes. He was gone. He couldn't find us.
The woman closed her eyes, as if ashamed. I was his neighbor. I saw the men he sent searching. They came to our village. I heard them speak your name, your child's name. They will not stop until they find you. Dee's blood boiled. He clenched his jaw, his hand instinctively reaching for the wooden hammer he had left near the coop. If they dare come here. His voice was steady, yet his heart burned with both rage and fear. Huyen turned to him, her eyes pleading. Dee, what will we do? Maya, she cannot live in fear again. For a moment, silence settled again. The woman watched them, her presence a painful reminder that the past had finally caught up. But there was also something else in her gaze, a fragile hope. I came here, she said quietly, not only to warn you, but because I cannot let him destroy another family. I know where he is. I know his plans. If you are willing, I will help you. Dee's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. He looked at Huyen, who held Maya close, her tears glistening in the dim light. He knew the truth. They could no longer run. The mysterious woman had brought them both fear and a chance, an unwanted truth. Yet perhaps the only key to survival. He placed his hand gently on Huyen's shoulder. Then we will face this together. Night fell quietly over the small village, but inside Huyen's house, the silence was anything but peaceful. The oil lamp flickered, casting shadows on the wooden walls. Maya had fallen asleep at last, her small hand curled around Bibi's fur. But Huyen and Dee sat awake with the mysterious woman between them. Dee broke the silence first. You said you knew his plans. Tell us everything. The woman hesitated, her fingers twisting the edge of her scarf. He is desperate. After the arrest and the trial, he lost everything, his work, his money, even his allies. But his pride survived, and his hatred grew stronger. He speaks only of revenge. He believes you ruined him, Huyen. He blames you for leaving, and for standing against him. Huyen's lips trembled. I only wanted peace, for Maya. The woman's eyes softened. I know. I watched from the outside, powerless. You were stronger than I was. I stayed silent when he beat his wife, when he hurt his neighbors. I told myself it was not my place, but now I cannot forgive myself. That is why I came to make things right. If I still can. Dee's jaw tightened, but his voice carried a steady resolve. You did not come for nothing. If what you say is true, then we must be ready. He will not take this family. Not again. Huyen turned to Dee, her eyes wet with tears. But how can we fight him, Dee? He has men, money, cruelty in his heart. We only have this little home. Dee reached for her hand, holding it firmly. We have more than that, Huyen. We have each other, and I will not let Maya grow up in fear. If he comes, I will stand before him. The woman lowered her head, her voice almost a whisper. Then you must be quick. I overheard his men speaking. They are already moving this way. Perhaps tomorrow. Perhaps the day after. A chill ran through the room. Outside, the night wind rattled the bamboo fence, as if warning them of the storm to come. Huyen's heart pounded, but she drew Maya closer in her arms, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's fevered forehead. She knew what this meant. There would be no more running. The past had found them, and the truth had come to light. Dee stood, his shadow stretching tall against the wall. Then tomorrow, he said firmly, we prepare. No matter what it takes, we will protect this home. The woman looked at him, a flicker of hope in her weary eyes. For the first time in many years, perhaps she, too, believed that courage could still change fate. The next morning dawned with a heavy sky. Clouds gathered over the hills, their gray shadows stretching across the fields. It was as if nature itself was warning them of what was to come. Dee woke early. He checked the bamboo coop, tightened the bolts, and walked the perimeter of the yard as though it were a fortress. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, the crack of a branch, made his senses sharpen. Huyen prepared breakfast quietly, her movements slow and thoughtful. She tried to smile when Maya came to the table, but her heart ached seeing the little girl still pale from her fever. Maya was too young to understand the danger, yet somehow she sensed the unease. "Uncle D, why are you walking around so much?" she asked softly. Dee crouched down and stroked her hair. "Because, Maya, I need to make sure our home is safe. Safe for you and your mother." Maya nodded, holding Baby close. "Baby will help protect us too." The mysterious woman, seated near the doorway, looked on silently. Her presence was still strange, almost unwelcome, yet her eyes carried honesty. She finally spoke. "He will not come alone. He always surrounds himself with men who do his bidding. If you are to resist, you must not stand alone." Dee turned toward her. "Then we must call on the neighbors. Yesterday they helped me lift a roof. Tomorrow, perhaps, they will help me defend it." Huyen hesitated. "But if we involve them, we put them in danger too." Dee's expression softened. He placed a hand on Huyen's shoulder. "This village is not blind to cruelty, Huyen. They know what it means to protect one another. If we stay silent, he will return again and again. But if we stand together, he will not dare." The woman lowered her gaze, her voice heavy with regret. "I should have done that long ago. Perhaps my silence is why he became so bold. Let me do my part now. I will go and speak to the men who live by the river. They will listen to me." Huyen looked at her with both suspicion and gratitude. "If you are truly here to help, then may heaven bless you." The rest of the day was filled with preparation. Dee cut strong bamboo poles and sharpened their ends, stacking them neatly by the yard. Huyen boiled water and filled jars, her hands trembling but steadying each time she glanced at Maya. Bibi barked playfully at the workers when two neighbors arrived with ropes and wooden planks, but soon even the dogs sensed the seriousness in the air. By nightfall, the small house no longer looked like a fragile dwelling, it looked like a home ready to be defended. When the stars appeared, Dee sat by the doorway with a lantern beside him. Huyen joined him, her shawl wrapped tightly around her shoulders. For a long time, they sat in silence, listening to the night. Finally, Huyen whispered, "Dee, are you afraid?" He turned his eyes toward the dark path leading to the village. "Yes," he said honestly, "but not for myself. Only for you and Maya. If I must fall to keep you safe, I will." Tears welled in Huyen's eyes, but she did not let them fall. She placed her hand in his. "Then we will not face this alone. Whatever comes tomorrow, we will face it together. V." In the quiet, the mysterious woman watched from inside, her heart heavy with guilt yet lit with a fragile flame of hope. For the first time, she saw what true courage looked like, not in grand battles, but in the determination of ordinary people who refused to surrender their love. And somewhere, beyond the hills, unseen but certain, danger was already moving closer.